Okay, let's go. Divide a string into groups of size k, easy. The string S can be partitioned into groups of size k using the following procedure. The first group consists of k characters of the string. The second group consists of next k character string, and so on. Each element can be part of exactly one group. For the last group, if the string does not have k characters remaining, the character fill is used to complete the group. Okay. Note that the partition is done so that after removing the fill character from the last group, if it exists, and concatenating all the groups in order, the resulting string should be S. Given a string S the size of each group K and the character fill, return a string array denoting the composition of every group S has been divided into. If every group S has been divided into using the above procedure. I have no idea what's going on, but let's go ahead and look at an example. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, 9 letters, A through I. K is 3, fill is X. Output is an array of 3 strings, A, B, C, D, F, and G, H, I. The first 3 characters are A, B, C form the first group, the next 3 characters D, F form the second group, the last 3 characters G, H, I form the third group. Since all the groups can be filled by characters from the string, we do not use fill, thus the groups formed are A, B, C, D, F, and G, H, I. So here it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, so there's like an odd one, and K is 3, fill is X, so A, B, C is one string, D, F, G, H, I, and then last set is J, X, X. Okay, so I guess maybe fill is just used to is used kind of as an extra character to increase the length to be the k length for each string within this array. Okay. I guess maybe they really had to be very precise about how they defined it, even if it's kind of simpler to identify what's going on. So I need to just partition the string into substrings that are k length, and if it's not k length, then add in x, the fill character. Okay, so I guess the main thing here is to make sure that when you're creating strings, you're concatenating not character by character, but like adding characters to an array and then at one point creating a string from the array using join, because otherwise you're creating a bunch of substrings or temporary strings that take space and take time to create but aren't actually used in the answer. And arrays, appending elements to an array in Python is much simpler and quicker. Okay, so or do I even need to worry about that? Okay, the splicing. How much time does splicing actually take in Python? How much time does splicing take in Python? Okay, so I'm going to try the splicing method first. Splicing is just like getting subarrays within an array, getting substrings within a string based on indices. So I'll go say I have an answer array that is empty, and then I have a number for the length of the string, and for every starting index, I want to have for every starting index, not quite right. Maybe for every ending index that is less than n, splice it from that ending index to the starting index for that substring. Because if I do start for every starting index, it might be start but doesn't end, like jxx. Like j is a valid index within the n indices of this string. That if I increment by 3 or whatever by k, it's fine, but it doesn't check that that actually works. That extends out. Alternatively, I could create a. Okay, I think this is a reasonable try here. So for every ending index in the range of, so if it's k, then the first ending index is going to be k minus 1, I want to say. So for instance, k is 3, then I have it's going from 0 to 3, not inclusive of 3, inclusive of 0. So maybe it actually is k. But if k is 3, I think it might be k minus 1. Because I want to, if the string is 3 long, then I can't just do 3 to 3, because that does 0. Okay, I think it's k minus 1 to n, going up by k. And then I'm going to splice answer.append the string spliced from k minus, no, sorry, it's not, it's end index. So if it's 2, ABC is 0 to 2 inclusive. So if k minus 1 is 2, then I want to do n index minus k plus 1. Like 2 minus 3 plus 1 is 0. Index minus k plus 1 all the way to n index plus 1. This is not inclusive, so just going off of k is 3 as an example, then this starting n index is going to be 2, and this thing is going to give me 2 minus 3 plus 1 is 0 as the starting index inclusive, and then the ending index would be 2 plus 1 is 3, which is correct, I think. And that's not going to go out of bounds because k minus 1 is still less than n. And then I'm going to say if it's not an exact multiple, if the ending index is not an exact multiple, so I guess if n mod k is not equal to 0, then the last grouping needs to be filled with x. So I would do, how would I do that? I think it's just last is going to be s from n minus, so let's take an example here. So if this thing is 10 long, and so if it's 9 long, then it's a multiple of 3, which is perfect. If it's 10 long, then you want to take 10 minus the remainder of 10 mod 10 divided by k. So that gives you 9. So n minus n mod k, the remainder of that, so 10 minus 1 is 9, all the way to the end, which is n. I wonder if I can use negatives here. I think the more Pythonic, however you pronounce that word, it might be s from negative of n mod k, negative of n mod k to the end, something like that, which is equivalent to this as a more traditional way or more non-Pythonic way of defining indices, plus some number of x's times the kind of complement of the remainder. So how do you do the complement of the remainder? Complement of the remainder is n minus, this negative of the remainder mod n mod k, negative of the remainder mod k. I think it's like negative of the remainder mod k. Because if it's like the remainder of 1 and k is 3, negative 1 mod 3 is 2, I believe. This looks weird, but I think that's correct. And then answer.append that last grouping. Alright, let's see if this works at all. Let's go ahead and just print first. Oh boy, that's not right. That is so far not right. Okay. N mod k is equal to 0. Why didn't that work at all? So here n is 9, I'm going to say. 9 mod 3 is 0. Huh. Ooh, let's go ahead. And remainder detected. Adding on. Okay, so here n is 9, k is 3. Oh, whoops, this should be not equal to 0. Whoopsie. Okay, well, that's the correct answer. Okay, that's the correct answer. Whoops, return the answer. Okay, got it wrong. So n is 8 here, so it looks like this thing should be 10 long. No. So that's 8 right there. So NGQWT is the last group. So it should be NGQWT and then 3 N's. I'm kind of stupid. This should be fill. Well, that took a long, that was a lot of test cases for it. Yeah, 18 I guess, not that many. Alright, what to say about this one? Yeah. Huh. I do wonder if there was if it's equivalent if I did any other way. Let's just, I'm gonna spend like 5 minutes to think of a slight different way of doing this. So if I have sub-arrays of characters. So for instance, I can have for every start in the range of n minus in the range of 0 to n going up by k. Going up by k? No. Actually, let's say current is an empty array going from 0 to n, going from 0 to n. And actually, maybe the current should be not empty. Let's say the current is the first character in the string. And I I say going for every other index. If the index is a spot where you create another grouping, so index mod k is equal to 0, then you want to append the current. So answer is going to be 2D array of arrays, appends the current, and then after that, and create a new current equals a new empty array. Otherwise, you're going to, well, if it doesn't empty the current grouping, then proceed to this. If it does, then create a new thing and then proceed to this, which is going to be append to the current group the character at this index. And then at the end, you might have to fill in the last group. So while the length of the last group is not equal to k, then current.append the fill character, and then you should do one last append to the answer, and answer.append the current grouping, and then you convert the answer into strings instead of each group as an array of characters. So for instance, I think if I print out here, this should show kind of what I'm thinking. The 2D array. Yeah, okay, so A, B, C, D, F, and G, H, I are the subarrays. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, X, X, yeah. Okay, so hopefully this is somewhat understandable. You start with the first letter as the character in the first group array, and then basically you append more characters to it as you go through the indices. And if you're at index where it kind of breaks off into a different group, like from the first group to the second group, you break off at index 3 and index 6. Then you basically append the current grouping to the answer 2D array, and then you create a new empty grouping. And then here you just need to create the fill, or create the join of each grouping to map the array into a string. So I think what would be answer is going to be actually join of map join of answer at k for each k in range. For each k in range of the length of answer currently. So this is list comprehension. So k is now the indice. Oh shit, that's k is very useful in this. Answer I for each I in range. So I is the indices going through all the groups, all the subgrouped indices of answer, and then I take that subgroup, which is currently an array of characters. I join it using empty string, so it makes it into a single string. And that's for those are the elements for answer. Okay, I wonder if this is the same speed. Maybe slower, maybe faster. It can't be faster, I guess. It's the same speed. All right. Which one do I feel better about? I mean, I feel equally fine about both. This one is a little more This one might be a little more direct to the answer. But the syntax here is, I don't feel great about the syntax, even if I kind of understand, well, I understand what I tried to do there. So which way do I want to actually try to say is my final way? I think this way is maybe a little more understandable. Okay, this is, I'll say this alternative approach. Using splicing syntax. In Python, where where in Java it might be substring, and in C it might be, I don't even know what the use. It's been so long since I used C. But anyways, substring using indices for strings to identify what substring that you're dealing with using indices. Also, using splicing syntax in Python, where s of I colon j is substring of s with indices, with characters from indices I to j, inclusive of I, exclusive of j. And if you're this one, go through all valid ending indices of full groups. Full groups being has k characters. Splicing substrings for those groups. And if there is an unfilled or a not full final group, create that string separately. So this is the normal groupings for every end index of a full group, where the first full group has an end index at k-1, k-1 being the inclusive end index of it. Your starting index based on that would be end index minus k plus 1, and your exclusive ending index of that group is end index plus 1. And then you go through that gets all your full groups. And then if the string has a size that doesn't lend itself to having all full groups, which means that it has some remainder, then you take the last group, where the last group will have a number of characters that is the length of n minus the remainder of n divided by k. So if n is 10 and k is 3, and there's a remainder of 1. And that's basically 9, which in Pythonic syntax is -1 for the end index, starting index, colon to the end. And then you add to that the string that is duplication of the fill character by the number of characters necessary, the count that's necessary to fill it out, where the count necessary to fill it out is the complement of the remainder mod k, complement of the remainder mod k, like 1. If it's 1 that's in there, then there's 2 that's complement to fill to 3 for k, and So it's that syntax right there. And then append that last grouping. But anyways, this is just the more understandable approach, I think. This is answer is a 2D array of, or create answer as initially a 2D array of where each group is a subarray, is an array of characters. Fill out each group by appending characters from S to current group if index is at a dividing spot, which is basically multiple k. Then make current, then append current group to answer array and restart current group with empty. Current group as empty. And that's this thing right here. Right? Index is multiple k. Set the current group to be full and add it to the answer. And then reset to empty. And then again, every time you do this loop, you're adding one character. And then lastly, if it's not full at the end, so you just fill it out. So you add more characters to it. And then, yeah, list comprehension for creating the mapping or the join of the character arrays into actual strings. All right, summary. This is choose your own kind of way of handling string creations. Ideally, don't append characters to strings. Append characters to arrays and convert array of characters to strings using join. Alternatively, use splicing, string splicing with appropriate indices to get group strings. All right, time complexity, this can be O of n in order to do single pass and create the either subarrays, or splices. And space complexity, this can be O of I think I'd take actually O of n if creating subarrays and then joining. There might be other ways that you could do it where it doesn't take O of n but O of k. For instance, if each time you do the current, instead of creating a new set, you destroy the old one. You create the string based from the old one, and then you add the string directly to the answer, and don't store the array itself. That might have been slightly better memory-wise. Like currently, obviously, my memory is not great. Or maybe okay if creating strings on the fly rather than storing 2D array of strings. And technically the other way was more memory efficient because you're just doing splicing directly, and the splices are the answers that you want, the group answers that you want. Anyways, we're done. I'm done.